speaking of opportunities, you had the opportunity to have a little run-in with Grogu, and you are known as like Stormtrooper number 2 of most infamous scenes in all of Star Wars history because you stunned him. So,
That's right.
man, the trial is now in session. We have the Star Wars fandom versus Dmitry. What do you say? How do you plead?
Oh, I did this.
Meddler's Corner! Yeah, tune in, let's go! Dropping into a galaxy far away, talking cosplayers and the roles they play. From the actors to the prop makers' art, every single fan plays a vital part. We hit the movies and the latest shows, the biggest fan cast everybody knows. Step into the corner, let the force ignite. Meddler's Corner, bringing Star Wars to life. We hit the movies and the latest shows, the biggest fan cast everybody knows. Step into the corner, let the force ignite. Meddler's Corner, bringing Star Wars to life.
Hello, Meddlers, and welcome back to another episode of Meddler's Corner. I'm your host, Donnie Meddler, alongside with my amazing co-host, Matt Durham. We have two guests. We have Cameron from Limitless Nerd on Instagram and all other socials. And then in the back half, we'll be having an interview with Dmitry Karras. You know him as a stormtrooper from The Mandalorian. You know him as one of the night troopers in the Ahsoka series, and we get to have a little fireside chat with him and then put him on trial for a little bit and ask him, does he plead guilty to stunning Grogu in the second season? Well, Cameron, how are you doing this week? Thanks for joining us, man.
Good, man. Thank you so much for having me on.
Absolutely, absolutely. So tell us a little bit about yourself, man. What is your why with Star Wars? Why'd you get into podcasting and talking about it? And then how did you get into the fandom itself?
Well, how I got into the fandom is an interesting question because I really don't know the answer because I got shown Star Wars when I was 2, so I literally have no memory without it. So it's just been kind of it's been like one of the most consistent things in my life for the last 26 years, I guess. And I just really have no memory without it. So one of my earliest memories was watching the original trilogy with my uncle, and he had all of his Kenner action figures and stuff from his childhood, and we were just messing around with those, and I was like, okay, cool, we watched these 3 movies, great, no more Star Wars, fantastic. And he was like, but wait, there's this, and he pulled out the Phantom Menace because it had just come out on DVD. And he was like, there's another one. You want to watch it? And I'm like, well, yeah, obviously. And then, I started collecting. I started getting action figures and stuff for my every birthday, every Christmas. I was really easy to buy gifts for because if it had the Star Wars logo on it, I was going to be happy until it got to the point where you have so much, it's impossible to know what you do and what you don't have. So, but the podcast, that was an idea that I had been kind of kicking around for, I want to say, a few years at this point. I have a background in a degree in media and journalism and photography, and was always kind of more of a behind the camera. So I was like, okay, cool. I really want to do this, but I'm like, I don't like being on camera. I don't want to do that. And had just kind of been thinking about it, but never pulled the trigger on it. And then literally about 9 months ago, almost a year, at Rebel Scum Con 2025, I met like every Star Wars creator that I had ever watched or been a fan of. Will and Grayson from Determined Focus, and Gabe and Carly King and Luke, and just so many. I could sit here for the entire segment and just list amazing Star Wars creators. But was able to talk to them and get advice from them, and really just kind of spend a weekend hanging out with some of them. And it got to the point where I was just like, if I'm going to pull the trigger and do this, I got to do it now. And that was 8 months ago. I'll be, I guess, partying for my 1-year anniversary at Rebel ScumCon this year, and yeah, I just kind of never looked back.
Well, man, I'm so happy that you're here. So happy that you're going to talk some Star Wars with us, especially hearing your little Rogue One hot take, man. Here on this show, I love hearing hot takes. If you got a hot take,
Boy.
everyone's welcome here, okay? We're all on an equal playing
They're all
field.
welcome. No matter how far left they are, they're welcome.
But man, I guess let's just dive further on in. Matt, how has your week been so far, dude?
My week was good. We got into the job stuff happening at work,
There you go.
so easy going there. And then we have one of our bigger events that I went to go have a meeting with for the Sod Poodles, our division Amarillo's the minor league team, are inviting us out next Friday, and so I kind of just volunteered to go and get kind of coordinated with everybody or with their team. So we have somewhat of an idea of what we are going to do. And then we had our practice. I don't know about you. Were you kind of like dead after practice?
Yes, dude. I went back. So Cameron, me and Matt are in Saber Guild, and we had a Saber Guild practice.
Boy,
And after
I can
after
imagine.
that practice, like I don't know, either it was from the work week or whatever,
Maybe
but
because we were moving now.
I don't know. But I went back, dude. I took a 2.5 hour nap.
I was tired. Like I hung out with our other buddy. I hung out with Greg. Like we went to go have lunch, and then he had to go to Hobby Lobby for something to look for leather. And man, I got home and I was like,
Yeah,
why am I think maybe it's just because we finally started stepping and actually going back and forth, and just
Yeah.
that added.
now we're moving.
We're moving, but we're still so stiff because we're like, move forward, move back. Yeah,
Yeah,
maybe that's what it was. But I was kind of exhausted after that. Saturday, I got home and then nothing for the rest of the day. And then Sunday's my reset day. So it was a good week, but I'm glad it's over. What about you, man?
So finishing up my job. So Cameron, me and Matt are electricians, and Matt does more of the government job of the electrical side of things, industrial work. And then I do like all the way from residential, commercial to some industrial here and there. So it's like I have a mix of everything. So we're to the end step of my barn that I've been trying to wire up, and let me tell you, there's a few things I missed, and I was like, oh, God. So we had to go back and fix and redo a few things because, this is my first gig on my own, and, it's bound to happen. And you're
Yeah.
going to work through the job, and you're bound to forget things. But now I'm just wrapping it up and looking forward to Star Wars night at the Sod Poodles next weekend. But yeah, Cameron, if you're on this show with us, man, we're going to get you recruited into one of the LFL clubs. So who's your favorite character?
Favorite character, or one that I think I could actually pull off a costume for? Because those are two
One that you-
very different questions.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's do, who do you think you could pull off in a costume? Let's start with that one.
See, here's the issue. I'm ginger, I wear glasses, and I'm like 5'4". So just to put it all on the table, there's not a Star Wars character that matches. About the only other ginger is Cal Kestis. So
Well, okay.
there's not a
so
good
think,
answer.
Think you can think aliens.
Yeah,
Maybe
dude.
the alien
You can
species.
do any alien. You can get a mask. You can get a bucket. You can have a Mando helmet.
You could be the
Yeah,
you could be
it
the
would.
second
Yeah, it
red-headed
would.
Jedi.
Yeah, it would have to be. It would probably have to be a Mando of some kind, a Mando or a troop.
Okay.
Sure.
Are you doing
Something's-
are you doing a New Hope bucket, or are we doing like more Clone Trooper?
I'm a prequels kid, so I'll probably say I'm a prequels kid by age, but I prefer the original trilogy.
That's
So,
okay.
but I also prefer clones over stormtroopers just because you have more color options and
Yep.
stuff you
Just
can do
look
there.
cooler, too.
But they do, yeah. So definitely something where I could put a bucket on.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So we'll
But
keep that in mind.
down here in Texas, it's not super good for that,
Yeah.
No.
especially right now.
Trust me, dude, because we're over here in Amarillo and it's still hot. And so we just got done doing the Mando and Grogu premiere. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to wear my Mando kit, get that out. Actually, my gosh, I trooped in that thing for 6.5 hours and I was dying in that thing.
It did help
Dude.
though too that your suit, you have like what 2 or 3 layers on, but I hope you got rid of it. Your baklava was fleece.
Yeah. Oh, I did get rid of that one. My stupid self, I had to run to go get a new balaclava at Academy. And I don't know why I did this, but I did it to myself. I just grabbed the first one I could see and it was fleece. And
It was literally a ski one that you wear like in Colorado.
No.
And I'm wearing it inside Amarillo, Texas at a theater with a helmet on. I'm like, no wonder you're sweating profusely.
Yeah, I did it to myself.
That sounds rough. Yeah, that's rough.
Yeah, you're just sweating in that thing and it just becomes a sweat box at that point.
You can't see, you're sweating. You waited for you to take a break. At least though you could take your helmet off. Thank goodness that Mando's allow you to remove your helmet to breathe or whatever.
And then of course, like I have Balin and that's just all black. And his sleeves are like a quilted fleece, so it's still hot. So I can't get away from it.
Yeah, there's no cool options in Star Wars. Everybody's wearing long sleeves all the time, and jackets, and flight suits, and helmets, and there's no.
I don't understand.
Unless you're doing Ayla Sakura, you're gonna be hot.
Yeah.
Where the dads taking their kids to SeaWorld and everything, they're in just shorts, flip flops, and a Hawaiian shirt. Where are those Star Wars
characters? So Cameron, if that's who you think you could pull off, who would you like to do though? Who would be your character you'd like to do?
I mean, some of my favorite characters. I'm like having to look around the room right now, but
right, who do I have on my wall right now?
Yeah, I do the same thing sometimes. I'm like, what comic book or action?
I mean, Maul and Obi-Wan are two of my favorite characters. Obi-Wan would definitely be easier to pull off because I'm definitely not gonna put body paint on. That sounds horrible. But so probably a Jedi probably seems like the easiest and probably most equipped for Texas weather.
Yeah.
That's
okay.
As far as dealing with the heat.
We're just coming back to Texas weather, man. But the cool thing is, I will say the cool thing is your body does actually get acclimated to it after a certain point. You're just like, well, we're in it. We're in it now. And at Rebel ScumCon, that was like first time I think that wasn't even my first full year in the 501st. And it was my first time being kitted up in like a humid environment. Oh my God.
At least the convention center was cool.
Yeah.
That's true. Inside was nice.
Yes.
I was so impressed.
I just stood at one point near the air conditioning. I was just like, take me now, man. Well, Cameron, I think we need to talk about some Rogue One. So we did a Star Wars ranking not too long ago, and for Matt and I, we put Rogue One kind of near the top of our list.
The top 5 is Rogue One for both.
I think it's top 4 for me if I have to double check.
You had one. Yours was second, and mine was 4th.
Yeah.
So yeah, top 4.
And man, just so you know, we're all in this together. It's your opinion. No one's here to just. We didn't get you on to be like, let's get a load of this guy. No, we
this guy up real quick. Yeah.
No. This is what makes this universe so cool. Because we talked with Richard, who goes by Wookiee Talks on Instagram, and he said it super well that we all have these multitude of opinions. We all have our favorite show that got us into this universe. And you know what? Awesome. Not everyone's gonna like the same show as me. Not everyone's gonna like the same movie as me. And you have your own. And I think this is what makes this universe turn, man. And I love it when other people have different opinions. Sure. So I'm super excited to hear what you have to say about Rogue One. So I'm going to let you take it away.
Well, I mean, first of all, my thing is like, no matter if it's my favorite thing or not, like you say, we all have different opinions. My thing is always, even if it's something that is not at the top of my list, every new Star Wars thing that comes out is a new opportunity to create fans. And the more fans that we have, the more conversations like this we get to have. So
Absolutely.
you're never going to hear, I will never put energy into the things that, people objectively say are bad, because I don't think you can objectively say something is bad. But Rogue One, but a couple things with Rogue One is like, first of all, I'm cool with the line in A New Hope saying the rebels have, got their first major victory. They have stolen the Death Star plans. I don't need 16 hours of TV and a 2.5-hour movie to more or less over explain that one line.
There it is,
But-
guys. There it is.
Well,
But
Fair
on
enough.
top of that, but I mean, and again, with any franchise that's been around as long as Star Wars has, you're gonna have examples of over explaining. It's just gonna happen.
Right.
Yep.
You can only stretch it so far.
It's like, dude, it's like the way J.R.R. Tolkien describes a hill. It's going to take us 30
my
pages
God.
to get this explanation of just this
Yes.
hill. But eventually, we're going to get
Yes.
there.
Yeah. And then
That's
they're gonna
what
make a
you're
2.5-hour movie about it. Yeah.
Exactly.
But also, to go into it a little bit more than that, personally, I think there's probably a few too many characters in that movie. I think you don't get a lot of time to develop some of them. So therefore, I kind of felt, even before the movie was over, that all of these people are going to be dead. So then therefore, I just wasn't super attached to any of them.
Mhm.
Right.
And the one that I do feel like they developed the most was the one that they made a TV show about. And I'm like, you couldn't have made the TV show developing one of the lesser developed ones. You had to pick the most interesting one and then give him a show. But
Dude, I love this. I love this energy you're giving right now.
Look, the movie looks incredible. It's one of the
Absolutely.
best looking Star Wars films
Yes.
from just a visual perspective. And look, I was saying this before we started recording. My lowest rated Star Wars thing is still like a 7 out of 10. So I'm like,
Hey, we still
everybody's gonna be
love
like,
Star
oh, he
Wars.
hates Rogue One. I don't hate Rogue One.
You just have your opinions.
The other thing that like sticks out to me, other than I think there are too many characters, and I wish there was maybe one or two less so we could develop a little bit better the ones that we had. And this is where you're gonna love this, because this is where the take really gets hot. The Darth Vader scene, the scene that everybody thinks is the coolest thing on planet Earth. No?
Do it. Do
Don't
it.
you roast us.
It looks amazing. It looks amazing. But if you think about it from an in-universe perspective, it makes no sense. How are you going to tell
I'm
me?
with you,
Explain to me,
Cameron.
please.
I'm with you.
No.
There y'all.
Explain this to me. How Darth Vader can do all of this incredible stuff, and he's throwing his lightsaber around with one hand, he's force pushing people, he's doing this whole badass thing.
Yeah.
And then 48 hours later, he can barely stand up and is like fencing style old man fighting Obi-Wan Kenobi on the Death Star. Explain this to me, because I know it's because they didn't have that technology in the 70s. I get it. But that's my issue with a prequel that is so close to an old movie. Like, if you make like the prequel trilogy, there's enough time where I can understand Vader's moving this way in Revenge of the Sith, he's moving this way in A New Hope. There's 20 years of time there. You can make that make sense. But you're talking like 48 hours between his scene in Rogue One and his duel with Obi-Wan in A New Hope. I mean, it makes no sense. Explain it to me, please. How is he moving? How is he moving like that? How is he moving like that in Rogue One, but then he can't get to it in I mean, it doesn't make sense. But yeah, I mean, look. And also, Rogue One is just not one of those movies that I find myself rewatching. Like, if you were to ask me which one do you rewatch, I'm rewatching all three of the originals. I'm watching all three of the prequels. Probably watching Force Awakens. I'm a big Solo defender. Like, I rewatched it the other day. I love Solo. Solo. I would rewatch Solo, and I would probably rewatch Mando and Grogu all before I rewatch Rogue One. It's just not
Okay.
And ultimately it boils down to the over explaining. Like, I mean, seriously, we got 16 hours of TV and a 2-hour movie to explain a single line in the crawl of A New Hope. And also, when you have a prequel, which Rogue One is a prequel, when you have a prequel that is so close to an older movie, you're just opening yourself up, because why are we not talking about Jyn Erso? Why are we not talking about Cassian Andor? Why are we
Yes.
not talking about Luthen? Why are we not name dropping all of these people in the original trilogy? I know why, because it was made 50 years ago. But in
Yeah.
universe, it makes no sense why we're not talking about, many Bothans died to bring us this information in Return of the Jedi. Where are all the humans that died to bring us this information in A New Hope? Like, why are we?
Continuity gets
I know why we're not
yeah.
talking. I know why we're not talking about them, because they didn't exist 50 years ago when they made that first film. But when you have a prequel that is so close to that movie, you're just leaving yourself open for it.
See, man, like I would love either a series or even a mini series, I don't care, about Galen and, building the Death Star. And then all of a sudden his little thing of like, you know what? Nope, I'm going to go against the Empire and I'm going to put a flaw into the system. I want to know who recruited him and all this other stuff, like how he got into that way. And man, I think that would be so cool. But you're absolutely right. I think Star Wars does have a tendency at time to do the J.R.R. Tolkien of explaining things. We have a 30-page hill. It's like, dude, just give me the Cliff Notes version, okay? And then let me know if we're there or not. I mean, I totally get that. I mean, there are some times where my ADHD definitely has that a little bit, and I could definitely see your point with that.
Also, like, my thing too is like a lot of people praise both Rogue One and Andor for not feeling like Star Wars, and I think that worked for a lot of people. I just wasn't one of them.
See, I'll agree with you. I'll agree with you on that about Andor. It's like that. It's like, I think it's that kid in me that it's like, where's my lightsabers? Where's my stormtroopers?
Wizard.
Where's all this stuff? Where's the Force? Where's the Sith? Where's
glad
all this?
Star Wars, and I'm glad Star Wars wants to go in a different direction and try things that don't feel like Star Wars. They just have to understand that it's going to work for some people and it's not going to work for other people. Andor worked for so many. Andor worked for so many people. There's so many people that Andor, and also Rogue One for a lot of people, that's their favorite Star Wars thing. And if it is, I love that. I honestly do.
Yeah.
It just wasn't for me. And that's okay.
Yeah.
I would rather watch The Mandalorian or something that has more of that Star Wars feeling.
Yeah.
And if you want to watch Andor, watch Andor. I mean, that's the benefit of all of this stuff. And it's the same thing where there's so many people that complain about, how they made Legends. And I'm like, those stories are still there. If you like all those Legends stories that are in the books and you don't like what they're doing with The Mandalorian, go pick up a book. I mean, it's not like you can't still read it and enjoy it. It's still there. It's just it's just more than likely not going to get further built upon. It's still there. You can still read it and enjoy it. You can read Heir to the Empire all you want to. If you like that version of Thrawn more than Thrawn and Ahsoka, don't watch Ahsoka. Go read Heir to the Empire. Nobody's going to bug you. I mean, like what you like. I mean, there's so many people that like to dedicate so much of their time and energy into talking about the things that they don't like. Like, I've seen entire YouTube channels that are like, this is why this thing sucks and this is why this thing shouldn't exist. And I'm like, Rogue One is not my favorite thing. Okay, cool. You're not going to hear me talking about it that much on my channel. I'm going to be talking about The Mandalorian and Grogu or Maul Shadow Lord or one of these projects that I just really, really loved. I'm going to talk about Skeleton Crew or whatever it may be.
Dude, such a good show. My God.
Right? I'm not going to sit here and be like, this is why Rogue One sucks and you should watch Skeleton Crew instead. That's not what I'm going to do. I'm going to be like, this is why you should watch Skeleton Crew. And there's so many people that don't think about it that way. And I'm like, you just must be exhausted all the time, because if I was that negative, I would just be exhausted 24/7. So
Mhm.
And dude,
Rogue One,
it's like
Rogue One is not my favorite movie. It's still like an 8. And I'll say this: if you were to look at my ranking of all the movies, the first 4 are pretty set in stone. It's the original trilogy and it's Revenge of the Sith.
Mhm.
And then
Okay.
the bottom ones are kind of set in stone. It's the 08 Clone Wars movie and it's Rise of Skywalker and Last Jedi.
Hmm.
Those
Okay.
everything in the middle, everything else can shift constantly because they're all like
Yeah.
right there together.
We have the
You know,
same.
the whole middle section. You
Mhm.
know, the whole middle section changes pretty much every
Depending on
time I
your-
rewatch any of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
And,
my
I
Rogue
mean,
One
Cameron,
take is
you're,
not as spicy as everybody thinks it is.
well, dude, you're saying that some of the things that, we have about some of the ones that aren't our favorites as well. It's the exact same. It's like for someone, it's going to work. For me, it's not going to work. Like my hot take is the Acolyte. Like I did not think that did anything for me for Star Wars. Now, did I think there were some really cool moments in that series? Absolutely.
For sure.
Absolutely.
For sure.
But I think it's what you have, your take on Rogue One. That's some of my take on like the Acolyte or, even the Rise of Skywalker. We have our opinions. And I think what people need to understand is that there are going to be things that we don't like. There are going to be things that you like that we don't like. But hey, you're going to come to this table and guess what? We're going to talk about Star Wars, and that's freaking awesome. And who cares what we like and don't like? Let's just talk Star Wars. Let's talk about lightsabers. Let's talk about ships, droids, everything.
Yeah.
I
I mean,
never
you just
understood-
people.
Go
Oh, go
ahead.
ahead. People just have to. Sorry,
No, you're
but people just have to understand that you're never gonna agree with you're never gonna find somebody that you 100% agree on everything. It's just not gonna
Yeah.
happen. So the fact that you can have a different opinion than somebody and talk to them about why they have the opinion that they have. I met somebody one time that one of their favorite movies was Last Jedi. And I said, okay, why? Explain it to me. And, she really connected with Kelly Marie Tran's character, Rose. And I said, okay, why? A lot of people didn't like that character. Explain it to me. And, Rose at the beginning of that film loses her sister in this, traumatic way. And this person had lost their sister in not a similar way, but in a, and they related to that element of the character. So therefore,
Yeah.
that movie, and I'm like, okay, that's awesome, And did it drastically change my personal opinion on The Last Jedi? No, but we had a conversation about why she liked The Last Jedi and didn't hate each other by the end of the conversation. And that's like, and there's a lot of people that just can't conversate like that. They want to have a conversation about why their opinion is right and your opinion is wrong, and they're not going to stop until your opinion matches their opinion. And I can't do that.
No, I never understood how the Star Wars fandom, we are some of the most dedicated fandom, which makes us probably one of the best fandoms, I would think. And then there's also on the other side of it, like this topic of like, we're some of the worst people with our own fandom.
Yeah.
And
'Cause
I never
they're
understood.
the first, or
yeah,
some others out there, the first to throw a stone going, you suck. How could you have that
like,
opinion?
I never understood that disconnect of y'all, it's Star Wars. One, it's not real. Two, like, give it
There's
a break.
no reason
If
to
you
hate
like,
each other over.
It's like if you like this movie, it's fine. But don't go hating on someone else because, like you said, because your opinion's not my opinion. It's like, what? Yeah, I'd be exhausted too if I went around just saying sequels suck, don't watch them, don't bother, boo hoo. Like,
Yeah.
oh man, that's
Well, man, I think instead of beating this dead horse, let's all discuss what moments from Rogue One really impacted us. What were the most impactful moments for us in Rogue One? So, give you some time to think. If you could think about that movie for a little bit, Cameron, do you have a moment that was impactful for you in Rogue One?
Yeah, I mean, I think the first one that popped into my head was, when Cassian was given the order. Spoiler alert! If you haven't seen Rogue One, go watch it. Go watch it. You've had
watch
enough time. But when Cassian decides not to execute Galen, Jin is going over to the platform to try to get to him, and Cassian's watching all this through the scope on his rifle, and he has the shot. He can take it. He just chooses not to. And I think that was a really important moment for him, and sets up when he, gets that little group together to go with Jin to Scarif. That's the one that popped out for me. I could probably think of another one if you gave me a few minutes, but
Well, Matt, what moment do you think stood out for you?
There are two. One is serious and one is funny.
Yeah.
I think
I
you
know
already
what the
which,
funny one
I
is.
know. I think you know which one
Because
that
you
is.
do such a great impression, too.
The first one,
it's
I
a
think,
funny movie. It's a funny
It
movie.
really is.
It's
It
funny. I
really-
mean, regardless of anything that the droid, that Alan is one of those, like,
Yes.
side tangent. Alan is one of those voice actors that
He's great.
no matter what he gets brought into, he just adds that little sprinkle of greatness that just makes the whole move. So off that side tangent, the first one is I am one with the Force and the Force is with me.
Yep, that was my moment.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
again, I'm gonna go with what Cameron was saying earlier, as far as what Star Wars is to me, like the space wizards. That's what I think of Star Wars. So when that moment came, I was like, okay. And I also just watched It Man, and so I was familiar with
Oh,
the actor
yeah.
who now his name escapes me. But I was like, oh, cool, he's in this movie, and he says this cool line. The second one is Director Krennic staring at the bomb or the explosion that just happened. It turns around and everyone else is standing around. He's, are we blind? Deploy the garrison. Oh, it's
Yeah.
so funny. It's like, what are we doing?
you just see everyone scurrying like,
And then, then everyone's like, here.
That movie is, I think, a lot funnier than people give it credit
Oh,
for. I mean,
such a great
and it's
moment.
mostly
it's
K2SO and Alan Tudyk, who is funny in everything that he's been in. I've met him.
Yep.
He's hilarious in person as well. And, I love Alan Tudyk because I love
yes, we got another
we'll
Firefly plan.
always-
I knew we were friends. I knew we were friends for a reason.
Oh, yeah. We could do a whole nother show just about Firefly,
Yeah.
trust me.
Agreed.
Yeah. Right. That's that moment of Director Krennic, who's also one of my favorite non-force using villains of the franchise
Mhm.
and costume.
And I'll say, talking about, I am one with the Force and the Force is with me, and Krennic, honestly, it goes back to what I said earlier. I wish these characters had more development. Like, I wasn't super sad when Chirrut and Baze both died because we just didn't know that much about them. And it doesn't make me mad. It doesn't make me mad at Rogue One. It just makes me want more of them.
Mhm.
Yeah. So
Agreed.
those are those two moments. And of course, I could also say rebellions are built on hope, and from Jin, I thought that was also like a really cool moment. And
I
but
think
about for you,
overall,
Dom?
man, I think overall this whole movie just gave us some really cool Star Wars scenes. Aliens, like the two tubes, seeing those, like I thought that was super cool. But my favorite moments were the Alan moments, K2SO, and my favorite was when he slapped him. That
Yeah.
was my favorite part. I was like, my gosh, this droid has some this human quality about him, and like we're starting to see more droids in Star Wars have more of the human quality, more and more and more. And that was one of the first times where you actually really saw a droid have that human humor per se, and I thought that was absolutely great. And then the Darth Vader scenes, man, were epic. Where he's like, "Don't choke on your aspirations." Oh my god, that quote is great. Total Darth Vader. And also too, the hallway scene for Darth Vader is just an absolute peak Star Wars moment for me.
The joke that stands out to me is when they put the blindfold on Chirrut, and he's like, "Are you kidding? I'm blind." Because he's like, "Why are you gonna blindfold a blind guy?" Yeah, that one's always funny to me. I laugh every time I rewatch it, and that scene comes up.
Yeah. Gee. Most of K2's quotes. Would you like to know the probability of her using that on us? It's high.
Yeah.
It's not good. It's high. Oh yeah. Most of K2 quotes are just, which has probably
I feel
made
like
me
that's a
more
lot of
sad
Alan.
when he died.
That's
Yeah,
just
I feel like
Alan
that's a lot of
anyway.
Alan Tudyk. I feel like
Yeah.
it's him improving a lot too.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
See, that's what I want to know. I just want to be there for those moments where you have those comedian actors, and I want to know: are they scripted,
Yeah,
or are they just
Right.
improving that? And
Right.
I'm like,
Loosey goosey.
yeah.
how they can just come
Yeah.
up with some of that stuff off the wall. I'm like, oh man, just to be a fly on the wall for those moments, I think would be so. All right, Cameron. So I want to do a little bit with you. We're gonna do a ranking of characters from Rogue One. Okay.
Okay.
I'm gonna give you a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to give you a total of 6, okay?
Okay.
And you're going to just rank them. You don't know who I'm going to say, okay? You know, we've
Okay.
seen Mike do this on I love Star Wars, and then you've also done this on your show too. So, you know what? Now you get to be in the hot seat, man. It's your turn, okay?
Boy. Okay. Okay.
Okay. So we're doing a ranking,
Kind of.
okay?
I kind of have an idea in my head of how I want this to go, so we'll see.
Okay. So we're going to do 6. We're just going to do it. I'm going to name off 6 characters, okay? And you rank them 1 through 6, okay?
Okay.
And I will make sure to keep track, but this is your personal opinion, okay? So 1 through 6, your first character, K2SO. I can't give you an easy one at first.
I mean, here's the thing. He's either number 1 or he's number 2. I'm trying to think of is there anybody that I'm gonna put him at 2 because I can think of one that I would put over K2. So we'll put him at 2.
Okay. All right.
And hopefully you give me the other one that I'm thinking of.
Yeah,
Okay.
he won't say it now.
Probably
And mark
not.
it off. Okay. All right. Next character is going to be Galen Erso.
I like Galen Erso. I like the performance, but again, I mean, it's one of those things where I wish we had more. You know, he's not particularly a main character in that movie, but the scenes that he has are really good.
Iconic actor, you know.
Yeah, I'll put Galen at 4.
I like it.
So we
Okay.
got 2
Galen
and
at
4.
4.
2 and 4 are gone.
Yep. Okay. Next character is going to be Chirrut Imlay.
Again, I mean, I feel like a broken record saying I wish we had more. He's really good though. When he takes out all those stormtroopers, I'm gonna put him at 3. I like him better than Galen, but I don't think I like him as much as K2. So I'll put him at 3.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. All right. Your next character, Jyn Erso.
She's the main character of the movie, but I'll be honest, she's not my favorite character in that movie. I'm not a huge fan of Felicity Jones's performance in that movie. I feel like there's a lot of moments where I was expecting more emotion and I just didn't. I don't know. I feel like a lot of her emotional scenes kind of fell flat. She's not the worst character in that movie. I'll say 5.
Ooh.
Jyn, yeah,
Okay.
I don't know. There's a lot of people I think that outperform her in that movie.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Next
I'm
character,
getting worried.
Saul Guerrera.
Oh gosh, man. Okay, I gotta ask, and maybe you'll tell me, maybe you won't. Is Darth Vader on this list, or is
I
this
can't
like
tell you
actual
that.
characters?
That's cheating.
Or is this characters that were specific to Rogue One?
These are all characters that were in Rogue One. So Darth Vader could maybe be on this list, but you don't know that, okay?
So what
We
do I have
got-
left? I have 1. I have 1 and 6.
Don't you have 1 and 6 left?
Yeah, you have just 1 and 6.
Jeez. That's rough.
I mean, it's an easy one for
I
me.
mean-
I'll say that much.
I mean, I'll be totally honest. If I could alter it, I would scoot both Galen and Jyn down a spot and put Saw right there. But I like Chirrut more. I like K2SO more. There's a handful of people that I could see going at number 1. So just because it's the only spot left, I'm gonna have to put him at 6. But I don't like doing it.
Okay. So your number
Forrest
1.
Whitaker is iconic in that part. But yeah,
So your number
Gosh.
1 character
You said
is
Darth
Cassian
Vader.
Andor.
Okay, see, he was one of the ones. He was one of the ones that I was okay with being at number one. So I mean, if I had to have it my way, I would move Galen and Jin. Jin would be at 6, Galen would be at 5, and Saw would be at 4.
Okay.
But if I had to have it my way, but I don't hate it.
So your
I'm
final
okay with
list.
Cassian at 1.
Your final list is Cassian Andor. Number 2, K2SO. Number 3, Chirrut. Number 4, Galen. Number 5, Jin. And number 6, Saw Gerrera. So decent list.
I can live
Good
with it.
job.
Yeah, I can live with it. I was like, man, is he gonna throw Darth Vader at me? Is he gonna
I
throw
almost
Krennic
did.
at me?
I was so tempting with it when I first made this list earlier today. I was like, do I just throw in Darth Vader? Do I just throw in a little crumb off the wall? Or I even thought about throwing in Director Krennic or something, you know?
Yeah, I was thinking like Tarkin. Like Tarkin could have been on that list. And I'm like,
We're like, sorry, your number one character is Tarkin, man.
Yeah, Leia Organa. I'll go.
Yeah.
Man.
I can live with it.
Dude,
I can live with it.
This has been so much fun. Thank you so much for chatting with us. This is the great thing, and we've said it over and over. We all have these opinions, but we can come to this table and really just talk about Star Wars. And so I'm sorry, Cameron, that you're about to witness this, but I have some discussion with Matt that I have to do from last week's episode.
Oh, yeah.
And I think I told you a little bit about it. So, Matt, would you please share with us how you judged last week's debate?
On what?
Don't forget now.
The Qui-Gon Jinn and Anakin?
Yeah. If you know on your Jedi list, did you know you put Anakin Skywalker as number 1?
Well,
interesting.
On my list, it was power.
Yeah, that was my list too.
But the debate was who's the better Jedi.
Boy, you don't even want to go down that road.
We did it.
We did.
And we all,
I gave this really good debate. I was just like, you know what? Yeah, Anakin was Darth Vader for a little hot stint. Yes, you're right. But you know what? He changed the galaxy forever. But obviously, I lost.
Well, so as far as, the chosen, there was no other chosen one. He did. Again, it goes back to that fact that's like, okay, well, he came one with the Force. I don't know how much of a Jedi you want someone to be when the Force just went, there you go. So, yeah. But if
that's what I'm expecting.
My debate was more based off of the Jedi code and who was the more embodiment of a Jedi. Not between Anakin and Qui-Gon fighting. I think Anakin can whoop his ass most all day. I think he's by
So
far.
You're saying I win? Is that what you're saying?
No. If we debated on a separate topic, I'm sure Anakin would win.
Okay.
But no, I thought, Qui-Gon is. Of course, Qui-Gon didn't even make my list at all for our two rankings.
Interesting how you still in this debate. I feel like there's corruption on the pod right now.
That's okay.
A2 Brute, what's up? Oh man, it's all good fun. No, it was fun last week.
They were good points.
Yeah,
it was tough.
Good.
It was tough.
I have to go back and watch this episode now.
Yeah. We just brought our list of who we think our top Jedi are, but it turned into this discussion of, are we making this list based on the definition of Jedi, or is this list based on power? My list was based on power. That's the way I was viewing this as. And then we had a debate on who's the ultimate. So it could encompass everything. Power, the definition of a Jedi,
old or new.
Yeah, old or new. It could come from anywhere. And so we were just.
Or was it more like, was Luke more of the Jedi? Should have been.
Mm-hmm.
Or because that's also why I think Anakin would still be number 1 too. If you were like, well, Anakin was the embodiment of what it should have been, and then just got worse because he wasn't allowed to do that. I thought about it afterwards.
As long as Kanan Jarrus was on your list somewhere,
yeah,
I'll be okay.
Yeah, number 2.
I'll be okay.
I think it was either number 2 or number 3 for me. I can't remember.
Okay, then we're good.
Well, it's number 3.
Then we're good. Okay, then we're good.
You had 3.
Okay, yeah,
I
then we're
didn't.
good.
Dude, of course that guy was going to be on my list because, dude, I just know his is one of those ultimate love sacrifices, the sacrifice of love, because he loved his team and he loved Hera so much. I was like, this dude has to be on my list. And when he gets his vision back, because he's that much in tune with the Force in that moment, I'm like, yeah, dude's on this list for life. But we did get into a side tangent about if anyone put Mace Windu on their list. Oh, yeah. No.
No.
Was he strong? Yes. Do we have opinions about Mace? Absolutely. And dude was a complete...
I have lots of opinions about Mace.
God.
None of which are good.
Yeah, same.
Can't say they were
It's like,
yeah,
I was just like,
yeah.
oh, no. Mm-mm.
It was good.
Well,
yeah.
let's get into this new bit that we're doing for the show. We are going to be introducing we're going to call it, I'm still working on the name, Matt, but I mean, you can help it. I think what we need to call it is like the Meddler Builder of the Week, because it can encompass cosplay, it can encompass building, anything and everything. So this week, our Meddler Builder of the Week is going to be Candace. She did a little Aerolorian, as she calls it. It encompasses the Mandalorian, Bo-Katan armor, but she did her own little take on it, and it's all Ariel from Disney. And I think that's
pilot swapped it.
Yeah, I think that's so cool.
It's
and you know what?
awesome. I love this.
Yeah.
Just the imagination, and I think that's what makes cosplay even like that much peak and everything, because you can come to the table with your own ideas and still have an awesome Star Wars cosplay like this.
Right? It's super cool. And I'm sure Little Mermaid must have either her favorite movie or the one she found to like the most. Who knows? But the fact that even her hair is red. Like,
yeah, she dyed her hair.
Yeah. I don't care if it's a wig or not, but the fact that this armor without Flounder, of course, would probably, well, I'm not a Mando. I don't know for sure, but I would think this could probably still make it in the club.
Just needs probably a little bit more weathering. All the armor probably needs more weathering.
But like her color
suit would need more winning. Yeah, but the color scheme, because it's all custom. It's all post-Imperial.
Yeah, that's what I also think is super. At least with the Mandos, they may be a little harsh on their standards sometimes. But I mean, you could still go, of course, take off Flounder, like I said. But you could still go in and people will be like, "Wow, that's a cool costume. You definitely look like Ariel." But you're also part of this club too? Yeah, I sure am. I think that's cool. And I love the cross.
It's so cool. And dude, I love how Flounder has his own little Grogu piece of armor, that little chest piece that Grogu gets. I think that's awesome. But also even better. So she went to a GalaxyCon in Oklahoma. I think it was like 2 weekends ago. So her weapon that she's holding right there, y'all want to take a guess what it is?
Is that a bubble gun?
It sure is like a bubble gun. That so on brand. So on brand.
Yeah.
It's really cool. I was just looking at the hole there. I was like, okay, it's not a speaker.
Yeah.
It's not bedazzled.
All bubbles.
I thought bedazzled or bubbles.
Bubbles.
Yeah, that's super cool. I'm hoping maybe somewhere on her armor she has the shell, that lizard voice.
She did like her own design. I think there's an octopus on one of the shoulders.
Is there an octopus? Oh, that's so cool. Love that. And if you do it right,
I mean,
it works in universe. Yeah. That's what's so cool.
Mm-hmm.
Love it.
I've seen a few like Disney Mando crossovers, and this is one of the cooler ones I've seen, and I've seen a few.
They're super cool.
Shout out to Candace for everything she's done.
Good
like
job,
she's
Candace.
doing multiple builds. Like she's did an Astrid from How to Train Your Dragon.
Cool.
But she also came to YC3 here in Amarillo, a local con that we have here. And so she bedazzled an entire Spider-Man kit from head to toe in rhinestones. And so, you know what? I just have to shout out her husband, Josh, because, he's a rhinestone survivor in all of this, just like me. My wife is a glitter and rhinestone connoisseur. And you know what, Josh? I see you. I hear you. We're in this together, okay? I had to make sure I shouted him out because he also he helped paint her armor and everything. And dude, those two together, they make a great cosplay team, that's for sure. But kudos to her. But y'all can all follow her. To the viewers and listeners, you can follow her at Candace B Cosplay on Instagram and see all of her works that she does. She even gives how-tos, and they're all fun and lively. And man, she does excellent work. And she's just recently working on a racing jumpsuit for Anna from Frozen, and that's about to be epic. But she's creating the template all on her own because there's no templates out there. And so she's doing it all from scratch. And I think that's just a testament to her craft and any builder. So good job. And I think we should do this every week, Matt. Just highlight cosplayers and highlight builders. So viewers and listeners, if you have a cosplay out there that you want us to highlight, just send us a DM on Instagram. You can find us at Meddler's Corner. Send us a picture. It has to be Star Wars because we talk about Star Wars here on this pod.
Has to be.
And so just send us a DM and we'll get you shouted out here on this podcast and highlight all the excellent work that this community does, because there are people out there who are, yes, Matt, you and I, we are in the 501st, we're in the Dark Empire, but man, there are people out there who have some incredible builds and have incredible talent that create these amazing things, especially on a 3D printer, all the way down to foam. And my gosh,
People that still know how to sew these days. I mean, it
yes.
sounds odd to say, but it's like, I feel like there's not as many people that can sew anymore
Mhm.
that I know. So if you could sew, like, I'm already impressed with your work. I don't care if you're a beginner or you're a veteran. I think, like,
Good job.
yeah.
Okay, I told you, Cameron, we're going to get you into one of the LFL clubs, okay? So have we at
Boy.
least got you hooked in yet?
If one of you wants to financially sponsor it, then sure.
Yeah, hold on.
Yeah.
My meddlers have
Never
Yeah,
gets
man,
invited back on the show again.
No, you're good. So you brought up an interesting topic that both Matt and I have talked about. And there are those people out there that think, oh, well, I have to buy everything all at once. And Matt has like one of the best, I think, views on it. These clubs were here before us, and these clubs are going to be here well after us. So you can always buy pieces at a time and do it slow. And I think that is just more of when everything's all said and done at the end of the day, when you look at that kit and all the work and all the sweat and the man hours that you put into it and the money that you put into it,
Yeah, the money.
and it's finally done, you are proud of a kit that is screen and movie accurate. So
That kid, when I'd say the first time that kid as the emperor, the first time the kid like got scared, that was kind of happy about
Yeah.
that. Or two,
Yeah.
when that older kid comes up to you and it just goes like, do it. Those are those moments. But if you're not a scary character and you're a Jedi, and just to see the sparkle in that kid's eyes,
Yeah.
or the
sure.
mom, look, there's a Jedi. It's all worth it at that moment. So.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Absolutely.
there's not a rush for this kind of stuff, especially if you don't have skills for sewing, armor making, that kind of stuff. It does not have to be all at once. Little by little, it'll be all worth it.
Well, Cameron, you want to plug in what you're doing on your page? Tell us a little bit about what shows you got coming up and anything you just want to say about your page.
Yeah, we are going to have a new episode of the podcast at bare minimum every other week until Rebel ScumCon in August. After that, we may change the schedule up a little bit. It just kind of depends. My goal at the beginning of the year was every other week until Rebel ScumCon. I have exceeded that limit by already having 2 months with an episode every week, but we're going to keep doing every other week. I've got, I think, 3 more to record, and then I've got them all recorded up until August. So we're going to keep doing that. And after we recently started doing, after every major show or movie, we do a live stream kind of round table. I round up a handful of people that have been guests on the show before, and we talk about it. We did one for Maul Shadow Lord, and then just did another one for Mandalorian and Grogu. So we're going to keep doing that. We've got a little while to wait now since we're not getting anything else for the rest of the year, I don't think. And then just kind of going to have a blast at Rebel ScumCon, and then I'm just kind of full steam ahead until Celebration. So excited to go to Celebration next year. That'll be my first celebration. So yeah,
Mine too. I'll be there.
Just gonna keep it rolling.
Well, Cameron, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for
It was
coming on.
awesome. Awesome
you.
getting to meet you. Awesome getting to just chat with you about some Rogue One.
About some Rogue
And-
One.
Yes. And I mean, great conversation. Thoroughly enjoyed it. It was great. So thank you again.
Thank you
I
for
can't
having
thank
me.
you enough for taking your time out
Yeah.
and just chatting with us. Meddlers,
Thank you for having me.
tune in to the next portion of this podcast with our interview with none other than Dmitry Karas. Hope you enjoy. Hello, meddlers. It's that time. I have my special guest here today. It's none other than Dmitry Karas. You know his works from the Ahsoka series, the Kenobi series, the Book of Boba Fett, The Mandalorian, and The Mandalorian and Grogu. He's played a Stormtrooper, a Tusken Raider, and other creatures in the Star Wars universe. How are you doing today, Dmitry?
I'm doing great, man. Thank you.
Awesome.
be here.
So, man, I think just my first question for you is, when you were getting into acting, could you share your Star Wars story with us?
Yeah, of course. I was fairly new in the acting world at the time. I was doing a lot of background work, which is kind of the standard way to get into the union for us. I think I had fairly recently, prior to that, got into the union. And was doing a lot of like military shows, a lot of cop shows. I was a regular on SWAT, stuff like SEAL Team and NCIS. I had a very clean cut appearance, did a lot of that stuff. Uh, there was a job posting that it was just everything was super hidden for Star Wars at the time. I mean, it still is. All of the new shows, Marvel, actually pretty much everything nowadays covers up their show name and the character names and everything like that. So, but yeah, the listing was called Huckleberry at the time. That was the show name. I don't think it listed the character in the listing, but they just said like a generic description of it, like military role, playing a soldier. I was like, all right, cool. That's already what I do all the time. Later, we found out that the character names were going by sous chef. That was the code name for what we were supposed to be. And anyway, I show up to the fitting, and normally that's just where you put on whatever clothing they're going to have you wear, whatever wardrobe you're going to try on, make sure it fits. I'm expecting to show up and put on some camis and potentially get a haircut. They sometimes will depending on the branch of the military that you're in. If you're a Marine, you'll get a pretty short haircut. If you're pretty much anything else, might leave it a little bit longer, but they just do a little bit of a trim, kind of like line things up, and then you're on your way home. So like kind of in and out and you're done. And so I'm expecting something like that. And I walk in and there's just boxes and boxes of Stormtrooper armor everywhere. And
So cool.
They're obviously a mistake or mix up like, oh, what you're doing anymore. And there were a few other people there who they were kind of rotating us in like one at a time to get fitted for this stuff. And everybody's just like a kid outside waiting for it. People are like losing their minds that they're going to be on Star Wars, and it was fun. It was a fun moment. Like even for me, and I've talked about this before. I was not the biggest Star Wars fan, and even for me going into that room, seeing that that's what I was potentially going to be a part of. For I had no idea how long it was going to end up being. Originally, I think we were just booked for like a week, maybe. So it was like, all right, cool. I'm going to be on Star Wars for a week, and it's like that's pretty dope. Never expected something like that to happen. And then that 1 week turned into 3.5 weeks, and I was one of the only people who got called back for like the entire portion of that. There were a few people, but whether it was like scheduling issues or whatever, but we got booked for initially like a certain amount of time, and then just kept getting like added to it. So I felt like, hey, I'm doing something right. Somebody obviously likes having me around and likes the way that I, carry myself at work and whatever. And that was it. That was the end of season 1, episode 7 and 8. That large company of troopers outside the cantina with Moff Gideon. They actually included the 501st members to add to the ranks of the troopers with Giancarlo. And but the 501st were only used for the first 3 days of that entire shoot, and then like they did the whole wide shot with everybody else with all the first members. And then as they got closer and closer and closer, like tighter with the camera, they started releasing people. So by the end of it, there was maybe like 10 of us or so doing all the different pieces. And, you don't need, camera's not seeing more than like 3 or 4 of you, and then like pieces of body parts here and there. So, yeah, that's kind of how it started. And then really cool thing at the end of the season with a lot of stuff. They either do like reshoots or pickup shots if anything is forgotten, or maybe like a take that they didn't like, that they couldn't use, or that they didn't have a certain scene done. So they were doing a shot like that. And, I think it was like 6 of us, and it was me and then 5 other guys that had been working already from most of the first season, even prior to when I started. So I was like, "Oh, cool! I got selected to get added to this group, which is pretty tight. That's a small group of people already." And we were doing a shot of IG 88 when he's like going through that like sewer tunnel,
Yeah.
and I was I just had to do this tiny little shot, and that was my last day. I think it was like the second to last day of filming. That was it. That was the end of the first season for me, and I thought that was it. I was like, cool, I got to work on this thing. Nobody's ever heard of the Mandalorian character.
Mhm.
Obviously, prior to that, there were Mandalorians, and we all knew Boba Fett and everything. It was just completely brand new stuff. I was like, all right, cool. Maybe it was just like a one-off thing. And then before the first season even released, we were already like a select group of us were already getting called back for season 2, which again, we had no idea that was going to happen. We figured like whatever we're going to film, then we would see that play, and it just worked out. The timing, they were rolling through all of this so fast that there was a pretty short break, and obviously it takes a lot of editing and post production for this stuff to release. And yeah, we got called in. We got an email to come back. Like, hey, do you guys want to? These select few of you, we'd like you guys to return to play these cool characters that we have in mind. And again, code named, or they were called like Turkey something. They still had Raider in the name. It was the Turkey Raiders. So they're like, oh, okay, I'm pretty sure we know what this is going to be if it's by that name. And of course, it ended up being the Tusken Raiders in that first episode of season 2. And that was amazing because it spanned the entire season. That one episode took pretty much the whole season to film, or most of it. And while the other episodes and the other parts of episode 1 that were away from the outdoor Tatooine set were being filmed on the other units. Yeah, it just kind of grew from there. All the different characters, all the different aliens. I got asked by Legacy FX to come into their office and try on a bunch of their the masks and the alien heads, and I happened to just fit the majority of them that they had me try on, and it just was lucky that the guy who they molded it off of back in England happened to have my head, I guess. So I ended up fitting pretty much everything they gave me, and that was it, man.
Incredible story, man. Truly
That's
iconic.
so fun.
It was such
So
an
fun.
amazing experience, man. I mean, the whole thing was obviously like it wouldn't trade it for the world. I had such a fun time
Absolutely.
filming all this stuff and getting to know all these people that I was working with. I ended up making a good amount of friends from this, just from the shows.
Mhm.
And of course, since then, I started doing conventions and the like autograph signings and stuff like that, and then doing interviews like this. And it's just. I mean, it really has changed my life in a way that I never thought. Like maybe not necessarily not possible, but unlikely to actually happen. So
Truly, man. Awesome job.
That's really cool. I want to go back. You were explaining, yeah, that first day you walked in to the audition, or when you got picked and you walked into the buckets and the crates of Stormtrooper armor and whatnot. Can you kind of take us through just that moment of when they fit your Stormtrooper helmet? Like, what was going through your head? Like, I know you were saying like this is surreal. I'm a kid again, but just talk us through, the famous dude. This is your helmet now. Kind of just take us through that. What was going through your head? What was
yeah.
like your realization?
Well, the first thing is that it's a lot clunkier in person than what you showed. So I know we all have this imaginary moment where it's like in slow motion and it just perfectly slides on, and then
Yeah,
like bam, you're
yeah.
you're in it. The reality is a little more clunky with like rotation, and you got to put it on and twist it over your face so it doesn't like
Mhm.
impact your nose. And it was even there, they were already kind of like giving us these little adjustments, and by the time you're putting your helmet on, we were already fit in the entire Stormtrooper regalia. And right away you feel how uncomfortable it is, and it's in such hilarious
Yeah.
contrast to like, oh, this is gonna be freaking cool when you're going into it like, man, we're going to be the stormtroopers in this new upcoming thing. And there's all this excitement and then you put it on and you're like, kind of sucks.
Uncomfortable.
How do I walk?
Yeah, exactly. Figuring out all that stuff, just like general, maneuverability was pretty fun. There were a lot of, little hurdles but it's all just kind of part of it. The funny thing is at the time, since that was the only one that I wore, that was the only experience I had. Right. But what's funny is over the years, after wearing, I don't know, a dozen different Stormtrooper kits, they're all made the same, right? But they all feel different and they all fit different.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter what piece it is, it's always going to be slightly different because over time they've gone through obviously a lot of filming, been through some stuff, and sometimes they break and they have to be fixed, and they get fixed in a way that changes like the curvature or like the structure of it. So then you have all these like weird fitting pieces and they're all completely individual now. And anyway, that's it's just fun to like to navigate all of that stuff. But emotion wise, like putting on that armor and like experiencing for the first time, I was, like I said, I was certainly excited to be a part of it. I had no idea what they're going to have us do, obviously. And that for me was very exciting. Like I said earlier, like I was not the biggest Star Wars fan. So for me, it was cool, but it wasn't like just mind blowing experience of like,
Right.
What was funny is I was hearing all of that sentiment from a lot of people as I was there, both at the fitting and then like even more so on the first day that we were actually there to do the filming. The excitement from the 501st members was just through the roof, right? And then
Yeah.
and then there were people who were just just background actors through like whatever, like through the central casting or whoever
Right.
booked that originally, and everybody was just talking like, "Oh my god, I can't believe we're here! We get to do this stuff. Like, I would have killed to do this for free. Like, I would have paid money to get on this set. And I heard that from all corners of the of the set. Um, and what's funny is I actually kind of like felt bad at the time for the first few days. No, I'm not even kidding or exaggerating. I kind of felt bad. Like obviously it was a job and I was happy to have it.
Right.
And
So
it's
you
income
enjoyed
for
the
me. So
job.
I was very grateful for the work portion of it. But again, I had no idea what it was going to turn into over the coming years. But I genuinely felt bad because I'm like, man, there are so many people who would kill to be in my position right now. And I'm standing here kind of like,
Do we get
"Eh,
when's lunch?"
so I was like, I had this like, this short moment of like, man, maybe somebody should be in my spot instead. Cause it was like, I don't know how to explain it, but that ran through my head, and it wasn't like a serious thought of like, oh man, I should leave and give my spot up to somebody. Not that even that would be possible, but that did run through my mind. And, uh, it, it was, I don't know. It was a weird experience in general at the beginning of it because I did have to kind of go through this moment of like, this is something that, this franchise and this whole world is something that I have not really connected with the way that so many other people have. And,
Right. Right.
it was just like the little process of, getting more and more involved in it that I can't even say that it gave me a greater appreciation for it because I always, despite not being a big fan of Star Wars, I always had an immense appreciation for Star Wars and for Lucasfilm and just for what it did for the entire industry, like all the technology that was created for it. So I definitely had a profound appreciation for it. I just wasn't so much of a fan of the actual material. Yeah. So that was kind of the start of it for me.
Okay. No, honest answer,
No,
man.
that's totally. I mean, I'd rather hear that. Like, hey, I'm just here for a job. I
It
mean,
was still more than
this is
just that.
all this is what I'm doing.
It was a little more than that. Like I wasn't completely just like, closed off to it of like, oh, I don't give a shit about this. This is just work.
Right. Right.
But
Right.
there
It's
was,
more so your appreciation. Just like you're like, oh, okay,
Mhm.
yeah, no, I get it. I'm getting it.
yeah, no, I totally
That's really
did.
cool of you.
I totally did. I definitely understood what it was. And, Star Wars, even whatever, 10 years ago was still one of the largest franchises, on the
Yeah.
planet. So, like I knew what it meant. I knew even, just being a part of it was definitely like an amazing opportunity and, immediately grateful for said opportunity. Yeah, it was, I mean, just start to an amazing amazing journey.
Well, man, speaking of opportunities, you had the opportunity to have a little run-in with Grogu, and you are known as like Stormtrooper number 2 of most infamous scenes in all of Star Wars history because you stunned him. So,
That's right.
man, the trial is now in session. We have the Star Wars fandom versus Dmitriy. What do you say? How do you plead?
Oh, I did that shit. No
Yeah.
trying to get out of it. Proud. That's right. I've been known to go on record as saying I'd do it again
Uh,
if given the opportunity.
Man. Dude, so it's so cool we're getting to talk to you about that because, man, when I first saw that, I was like, oh, man, that is now like, so we had the Stormtrooper that punched Grogu. He's like number 1.
He's
Right.
number
Will
one.
always remain number 1. Then we have
Adam.
you who stunned Grogu. And then we have Warren who put the cuffs.
That's
So
right.
y'all three together, man, y'all are cemented in Star Wars history. So that's freaking awesome.
Those are such. That whole moment was so much fun. Everything with when Warren came into it, and he was in that scene inside the room. We weren't expecting him to actually be a part of that because the 2 troopers that walk up to that room are me and Derek Diaz actually.
Mhm.
When we're walking down the corridor with Moff Gideon, and then the timing somehow worked out where they sent him away because the angle was just on me and Katie O'Brien and Giancarlo. So there was no other second trooper in that room. It was just the 3 of us and Grogu on the bench. And they finished up that angle and then called Warren in to take his place, and he wasn't thrilled about that. But Warren got to jump in and be the handcuff guy along with me. It was definitely a fun moment getting to experience that. Having to sit on it for so long after having it happen was a lot of fun. I got so many questions. I hadn't started doing any public appearances back then, like up until
Mhm.
I think until season 2 aired, or until after season 2 aired. And but I already had people asking questions that knew that I was already a part of it from season 1, and just dodging questions about it and thinking every time I got asked a question like that and thinking about getting to actually do that, like, wait till you see. So that was a lot of fun. And yeah, that still kind of sits as one of my favorite moments of something that I got to be a part of in the universe, because it is such a goofy, memorable moment. And it's it's just kind of stands out quite a bit.
But I mean, your infamousy just forever now, just as one of the 3 stormtroopers that harmed poor Grogu.
That's right. The little dude deserves it.
Yeah.
He deserves it. He was just beating up 2 or 3 stormtroopers on the way in. The guys like falling out of the room.
He had it coming.
Definitely had it coming.
So I want to talk about, like, you were saying earlier about maneuverability in the Stormtrooper kits.
Mhm.
So on Ahsoka, you were a night trooper, they get shot. We all think, okay, they're gone, they're dead, like normal Stormtroopers. But y'all have to get back up. Warren was talking about the process and the rehearsals y'all were going through, getting back up.
Yeah.
How many times did you pinch yourself with that armor? Because, man, I wear
Every
Balin
time,
and I can't
probably.
even bend over. I'm just like, I can't maneuver at all.
Yeah. I mean, it was tough. I think it was harder for some people than others, even though we're all kind of the same size. Everybody's in slightly different shape. So, can't say that I really had too much difficulty with like the movement of it. It's still a pain in the ass. Like everything is pinching, like you said.
Mhm.
There's no way to really position yourself in a way where you avoid that happening. It's kind of just a part of it. But I feel like in a lot of cases, doing it slowly is more difficult than just kind of rolling through it quickly. So things just kind of, instead of pinching, actually, they just kind of roll through
Okay.
if you move right through that pinch point.
Yeah.
But getting off the ground, they wanted us to move slowly. In that, there's that first scene where Ahsoka, Sabine, and Ezra, they just finished taking out that whole room. Like that first time that we all wake back up, and all the troopers are just it's just a sea of them on the floor, right? And then the green magic mist comes in, and then they start to slowly start getting up. That initial like resurrection moment, they were trying to milk it for a while, so everybody was moving really crunchy, really slowly. It was kind of a staggered sequence of different troopers moving at a different time instead of everybody just kind of all at once. So doing that slow motion initial moment was not the easiest because you can't really just roll through it and stand up. That's not super difficult, but having to do it slowly in that specific scene was a little more difficult than the rest of the time. And I don't quite remember how many times we had to do that, but it was a good amount where they just, 'cause they were like, they were getting wide coverage of the whole thing, of like the entire room of all of us getting up at the same time. And then they would still get pockets of us to get into our like death positions, and then they would get close up shots of us rising. So we probably did that, I don't know, probably a good like 15, 20 times or so
Dang.
before they got everything, and then repeated for the close up shots. Then once you're doing it in the moment, if you're getting knocked down and just have to get up, that stuff it tends to happen a lot easier and smoother, just because you don't have time to really experience, like the armor doesn't have time to get you into those uncomfortable positions. You just, if you fall down, you skip all of that. And then if you roll to get up and just kind of just stand right up, you might feel like a slight inch moment, but it kind of all happens so quickly that you don't actually experience it too much. Plus in the moment, like even though nothing intense is really happening, but there's still an adrenaline moment in the middle of it. And I don't know, you just don't, I don't feel like I experience it in the moment because I'm not thinking about that. That's like, it's not, you got to keep in mind that like when we say this stuff is uncomfortable, it's uncomfortable because we're wearing it the entire day. Like on its own, it's not like as soon as you put it on and you're just like in pain. It's kind of it's a bit of an attrition experience over the course of the day. We're wearing these armors for 12, 14 hours in a day. On Ahsoka, it was actually nice because we were able to, we didn't have to, because we were all so used to it. We had worn these outfits for so long already for years prior. And the crew was already way more confident in their ability to take it off and put it on. That whole process went a lot smoother and quicker. So I think that was part of the reason that the production was a little more lenient on, like we could have put it on an hour before we had to shoot. That way everyone's ready to go by the time that the production is actually needing us, versus on Mando, we would show up at 6 a.m. and get into our armor, and we would have everything except for our helmets, our gloves, and our forearms, and we would have that on the entire day. We wouldn't take it off for lunch. We would just be in it for the entire day. It doesn't matter if we weren't necessary on set for the first 6 hours and they were only going to use us after lunch. That means we just sitting in our armor from 6 a.m. when we got there till 2 p.m. doing nothing, and it's completely unnecessary for us to be in those armors, but that's just the way it was. So on Ahsoka, it was a little cooler because we could just put them on as we're getting ready to actually go, because obviously they have a schedule of what they're trying to get done and when the different characters are necessary. But so that was definitely cooler. I was a lot more comfortable, and things, everything still went smoothly. But,
Well, Dmitry, man, thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for taking the time to just even chat with us and share your
course, man.
story.
Yes.
Also, congrats to you on being an honorary member in the 501st, the Rebel Legion, and the Defenders Detachment. You do so much work. I got to see you at our first Rebel ScumCon, which was Rebel ScumCon 2 last summer.
Yeah.
And I loved listening to your story because me, as a huge Balin fan, I was kitted up in Balin, and you sharing your story about your time on Ahsoka, your time with Rey, that was truly something special that
Thanks, man.
I will definitely remember, because just I was so cool at RSC, all the actors, everyone, all the way down to the behind the scenes people. They took the time, and especially you took the time just to chat with everyone. And man, kudos to you and everything that you're doing.
Yeah.
Do you have any events coming up that you're willing to share that you're excited about?
Yeah, actually, 2 weeks I'm going to be in Tennessee for ICCC. I'm super stoked about that, actually. Well, first of all, thank you for the kind words just now. I really appreciate that. I definitely try to, at events, especially when it's not completely crazy, but even when it gets pretty wild, timing wise, I definitely try to make. I mean, it's the experience is for the fans. So I definitely try to make a strong effort to make it about them and their experience. So I appreciate what you said. As far as events, yeah, ICCC, I'm super stoked about. I've never been to Tennessee. It's gonna be real. I'm sure it's gonna be a lot of fun just visiting Nashville. I've been trying to work out a situation that I end up at IC con for several years now. So it finally worked out with my schedule.
Good.
They've bounced around their timing. Last year I was in Europe at the time that they were doing their event, and so it didn't work out for it. And something else happened the year before. So it's just been, I feel like we've been in conversation for a while now, and it finally worked out. So I'm super stoked about it. I know it's an amazing event, and yeah, just very happy about that it worked out this year. Also, I'm doing my first horror convention in August.
Oh, wow.
I not expected. I know there's a little bit of overlap, and horror conventions sometimes they'll have sci-fi guests as well. But actually, with Warren and I are both going to the same event in August.
Wow.
Crypticon
Cool.
in Kansas City. So that should be fun. I don't know what to really expect there. I've never done a horror convention before. But I mean, I've been at cons where there were a bunch of horror guests, but like a horror specific convention I haven't done before. So I'm pretty excited to see how that goes.
Well, man, that's super exciting. I hope I can see you in person again sometime. Again, thank you for your time.
Definitely, man. I'm
Thank
sure
you
I'll
for
be back in Texas.
everything. Thank you for everything that you've been doing with the Star Wars universe. I have one more question for you, and I ask it of all my guests. If we were to open your garage, what vehicle from the Star Wars universe would we find in Dmitri's garage? It can be planet to planet or streetwise.
That's an interesting question. I haven't gotten that before. I like that a lot. I'd really want one of those goofy ass scooters from Book of Boba Fett.
Okay.
100% kidding. 100% kidding. I hated those things. I know. I mean, the speeders from Phantom Menace were so awesome, man. I don't know specifically which one. Actually, I had such a great time. Did you guys play the Pod Racer game? I don't know if you guys, if you guys are gamers.
Yeah.
But I remember playing that when I was a kid. And they had so many different models, and you can see them up close, obviously, where like in the movie, there's only like, I don't know how many of them are racing together, like 7 or 8 of them or whatever. But in the game, there's a huge selection of them. So I don't know exactly what, whose personal racer it would be, but those pod racers were freaking dope. It would definitely be one of those little
That's a good
dragsters.
answer.
My wife asked me that question one time, and she's like, what would you have? And I was like, man, honestly, like I want to have a mix, but especially a pod racer, just so that like I can annoy my neighbors sometime and just turn it on and just let them know that I'm in the neighborhood,
Yeah, man. It's like having your own little hot rod in the garage. Hell yeah. Most definitely.
Well, Dmitry, thank you for your time.
Thanks,
Tune in
fellas.
next time. Tune in next time, meddlers, and let the force ignite.
Meddler's Corner! Yeah, tune in, let's go! Dropping into a galaxy far away, talking cosplayers and the roles they play. From the actors to the prop makers' art, every single fan plays a vital part. We hit the movies and the latest shows, the biggest fan cast everybody knows. Step into the corner, let the force ignite. Meddler's Corner, bringing Star Wars to life. We hit the movies and the latest shows, the biggest fan cast everybody knows. Step into the corner, let the force ignite. Meddler's Corner, bringing Star Wars to life.